we have lots of questions for you today. Are you willing to forgive yourself and others for experiences that led to pain, faulty beliefs, and misconceptions? Are you ready to believe your divine identity over everything else you might have heard about yourself? Are you ready to stop listening to the negative voice within you that wants to stay stuck in old stories of victimization and struggle?
Angel Heart Radio programs should not be used to replace your legal or medical advice, nor your own sound judgment. In truth, nothing can dim your magnificence. You are a divine spark, a universal light. You are here on purpose. You are part of a divine plan, and it's our joy to support you. We're here to celebrate you. Welcome to Angel Heart Radio. Powered by love, Angel Heart Radio is brought to you by AngelLight777.com.
Great news, everyone. Angel Heart Radio is now live streaming on our Facebook page, and we have a fully searchable, brilliant podcast platform for you at angelheartlisten.com.
Welcome, everyone, to Angel Heart Radio. I am your host. This is A Divinely Ordered Life, and I'm Deb Goldberg. And it brings me great pleasure to be here with you today, and it's an honor to serve you in the highest way that I can by bringing you messages of divine love and blessings for your life. You are dearly loved, cherished, and blessed. We have a great show for you today, and I'm so excited that Anayah Joy Holilly and I finally got together to do a show together because it's been a while. And Anayah is the founder of Angel Heart Radio, and she's a certified angel intuitive, and she's awesome. She's a great friend, and I'm so glad to be here with you having this conversation. Welcome, Anayah.
Thank you, gorgeous. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Gabby's in the chat. If you're watching anywhere else but on Angel Heart Radio on Facebook or YouTube, everyone, head on over to Angel Heart Radio on Facebook, and we can read your comments while we're live on the show.
Yes, that's awesome, because we want you to participate in our conversation and be part of it, because you matter and your opinion matters. We want to have the conversation with you too, not just the two of us.
Exactly.
So thank you. Thank you. Anayah, why don't you tell people a little bit about Angel Heart Radio and all the wonderful things that we have going on here?
Thank you. Deb, before we do that, it occurs to me, I want to give a shout out to Kaz Nathan Starchild. The music you hear. Oh, now hang on a second. Gabby says, Hope's with us. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Gabby said she swapped rooms. Now, I could see your comment before, Gabby, so I must be able to see them on both pages now, which is awesome. Kaz Nathan Starchild wrote the music that you hear on our intro. It's called It's a Muse, and it is so deeply beautiful, and she actually gifted it to me. She gifted the copyright to me. I mean, wow. Isn't that amazing? So that's where the music comes from. Kaz Nathan Starchild is on YouTube and Facebook. And thank you, Kaz. Thank you. Angel Heart Radio. We are 10 next month. Wow. We have been continuously broadcasting without a break for almost a decade. And actually, I was thinking about this last night. How incredible it is when I think back to when I very first began Angel Heart Radio, and it's perfect for our topic today, because I was so deeply full of fear. I was so terrified. I only had, and a lot of you have heard me say this, but I only had two fears, and that was that nobody would listen and that somebody would. So I was like caught between this hole. But the angels just kept reminding me this was a gift of service, this was a gift of divine grace. And if I chose to step into that divinity in my heart, feel my fear, and do it anyway, this would be something beautiful and magnificent for me, as well as for you guys. And it's just completely changed everything about me, who I am, how I live my life, and where I'm going. So Angel Heart Radio, as Deb said, it's about conscious conversations. It's not just about us getting on and saying stuff. It's about you, actually. You guys are the only reason we turn up. Well, actually, that's not true. We'd probably do it if nobody listened or nobody watched, to be honest. Because it's beautiful, isn't it, Deb, to have these times together and to express what's in our heart. Because we know that even if no one was to listen to the show, the fact that we are stepping forward like this and bringing everything forward, it goes out into the world. It's a beautiful echo, and it travels, and it does never, ever stop. Right?
Totally, yes. We're putting that beautiful energy out into the universe.
Yeah, every single week. So we've
Mhm.
got myself and Carol Ann. We have our show on Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. Central, which is Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Brisbane. We have Annette McCoy, who's on right before us at, I guess, 7 p.m. That would be for Annie. And Annette has amazing guests every single week. She has regular guests, so you can tune in, check in, and connect each time. Of course, we have Deb. We have Terry Angel. It's the second time I've called you Terry Ann. Terry Angel is on Mondays, US, which is Tuesdays here in Australia. And Terry has a beautiful show called Speaking with Angels, and she always brings forward something just beautiful. And Karen Palmer joins her periodically as well. Marsha Martin is on Blog Talk Radio, and all our shows are converted into podcasts for you. So you can either listen and download them or stream them while you're maybe driving, doing your housework, whatever. Deb, we have so many beautiful opportunities in life, don't we?
We do.
To share what matters to us and what we feel is a benefit to the world.
Totally.
Angel Heart Radio is one of them. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, so it's a beautiful platform to to share love and to share all our unique ways of within our shows of how we share that love with each of you and bringing forth wisdom in the unique ways that we do,
Mm.
trying to create community and an atmosphere of love and kindness and passing wisdom through so that everybody can grow together.
Yeah. Because,
Hmm.
at the moment, as we know, that saying we're all in this together is very prevalent and relevant. And it's such a powerful reminder that we are actually all in this together. We are in the creation process and experience together all the time. All the time. And it's so beautiful. And I'm listening to the crow outside my window. And it reminds me of the magic that's created for us, through us, by us, and because of us.
Hmm.
Mm.
It's all a creation singing in its own voice, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's beautiful because often the crow will turn up when I'm on air.
Hmm.
And crow is one of my totems. So it's really powerful for me. And I'm really grateful that that's a great reminder, and that I notice. I'm aware of that. Once upon a time, it would have gone straight over my head. So it shows me as well, Deb, that the more that I'm moving into that divinity that is me, and I mean, I've got plenty of human moments, I can tell you,
Hmm.
but still, the more that I step into that, the more expanded and expansive it becomes, and I become, which I
Hmm.
love. Mm.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful because as you were talking, what I was thinking about is um, that our whole self is divine. that we don't need to separate human and divine. Our whole self is, you want to call it divinely human, whatever you want to call it, but it is divine
Yeah.
because you were created this way. And that leads right into the topic that we're talking about tonight, because staying present is one of the ways that you stay aligned with your divinity. If you're not present, you keep forgetting, and all these moments keep slipping away. And what really brought this topic to me today, well, first of all, yesterday, I, you know, on divine relationship recovery, we talked about an article that God dictated about quiet servitude, and what servitude is redefined as in service to God, which is in service to yourself, which is in service to others, because there's only one that's being serviced. Uh, but I was working with a client earlier, and she, like all of the rest of us, gets stuck in these stories. And believe me, I have been stuck in many of them.
Who hasn't? Yeah. But it's okay. Because
And
stuck, there's an opposite to stuck, isn't it? There's
mhm,
another one. That's right. So
mhm,
we don't have to stay there.
no. And what I was thinking is, oh my goodness, when we keep forgetting who we are, you go right back into that place of victimization and struggle again. And you don't have to keep going back there. And if you do, when you keep remembering your divine identity, that you can pull yourself out so much faster, because you can remind yourself, this isn't real. This is a story I'm telling myself. This is a victim story. And I know that when we get stuck in those places, when we feel stuck, that we are went down the rabbit hole again, it feels so awful, and we could get stuck in the rabbit hole for lengths of time. Now I understand that every place we are is exactly perfect for us, but what I want to bring forth is that you have the power to move through that quicker if you allow yourself to be in relationship with divine love, and to really claim and accept and believe your divine identity.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a powerful thing because, and I'm really, really grateful for what you've just pointed out, because this choice that we have doesn't mean that we're either doing it right or we're doing it wrong. We are
Mhm.
always doing it right for us. But within that, there exists a beautiful opportunity then to, to choose a softer way, to choose a way that feels nurturing for us. And the more I find that I choose that, it's not really that evident at first, I have to say, for me, but the easier it becomes, like you said, Deb. So if I just keep doing, choosing, like I was saying to Deb before we got on air before, that I'm working at a green screen. And I thought, oh, just quickly before the show, blah, blah, blah. And my head was really urging me to rush and hurry and try and cram it all in. And I started, and then I could feel in my heart that that was not in conjunction or in alignment with feeling peaceful. So I took it all down and thought, right, now's not the moment, and it doesn't have to be the moment. And it's those little choices, because the knock-on effect, the echo that reverberates and begins to play out every single day, can instantly change and become much more peaceful.
Mhm.
Right? It's yeah,
Right,
great.
right. So we're coming to a moment, and God described it to me as a new reality, as a new way of being in this new reality, that understanding what quiet servitude is, but it is also understanding these choices that we have with everything that is coming before us, that we can choose to remember or we can keep choosing to forget. And I know that as I went along, what taught me this was the more I went inside, the more I meditated, the more I spoke with Jesus and God and the angels, the more I took time to do that, the more I journaled with them, the more I did that stuff, it kind of made everything solidify inside of me, to keep coming back home and believe what I'm being taught. It doesn't mean that don't forget for a moment or time. I've gone probably 6 months, a year, and thought, oh wow, I was in a rabbit hole and thought I was awake when I wasn't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that is such a great juxtaposition when you get it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The contrast is so clear. And Gabby was saying in the comments, again, if you're watching you've already said that. Okay, she says, I have a friend that has been there for a few days, and today we figured it out. You've got to get out of your head and hand it over. Trust it will be dealt with love. And that is so powerful, Gabby, because those words can make it sound really easy, right? And it is, but at the same time, the contrast is it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the continual choosing the divinity of our own heart, of who we truly, truly are, of being the reflection of our Creator's love to serve the world and serve our own beautiful true natures, that the more we get out of our head, because our head is there, that constant inner critic, that constant inner voice, that monkey mind, that chatter,
Mm-hmm.
that's the doorway, isn't it? That's the
Yeah.
signal.
Yeah. As soon as you start to hear, when I first started waking up, I didn't um I didn't always recognize what I was hearing in my head because I was busy. And you have all these layers of thinking going on, and you're not always paying attention to that grind. That voice, that grind is always in the background, gnawing at you. And so I would feel first. I would feel and go, well, I'm not feeling very good right now. I'm not feeling happy. I'm feeling this, that, or the next thing. That is what led me to think, okay, if I'm feeling this way, what have I been saying to myself? What have I been listening to? Because thoughts cause feelings. So sometimes you can do it the other way. If you're not catching the thought, you can catch the feeling.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because our feelings are so reliable. Even when we're feeling fear and anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
it's still really reliable, because what it's telling us, what it tells me, is that I'm caught in a misconception somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm caught in a belief that's not real. Also, that there may be outside influences. So, for example, maybe I'm picking up on energies from others in the world or in my immediate circle. So, again, it's telling me that I have an opportunity. And sometimes, the answer for me, like the last couple of days, day before yesterday, Deb, I was in such deep anxiety, really deep anxiety, and I couldn't seem to shift it. And then I realized that thinking about what do I do to get out of this was just keeping me in it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I got quiet, I went into my cave, cancelled my plans, and I just sat in it and just did my prayer work, talked to God, talked to the angels. And throughout the day, and yes, there were a lot of energetic things happening too, with, as Janet Hickox shared about the planetary energies, which did begin to lift in the afternoon, but it felt different then because I was trusting my feelings to be in my cave instead of my thoughts. How do I stop feeling like this now? Because that how do I stop feeling like this now is a fear-driven thought, right? We know that. Yet it feels like a completely relevant thought to have, doesn't it, at the time?
Sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel bad.
Don't
You
feel
don't
that
want to
way.
feel anxious. You want it to stop.
No. And it's
Right?
and anxiety and worry are two very different things, which I've discovered personally. But it's going into that prayer, and one of my all-time favorite prayers, thank you, Tom Timor, I request a most benevolent outcome for my thoughts and feelings or my anxiety, whatever it happens to be. It can be anything. Thank you. And that's what I do. I keep going back to that prayer. I keep requesting a most benevolent outcome, which is such a beautiful energy. And because I've asked for it, I'm then beginning to open myself up to receive it. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's
It is
wonderful.
such a beautiful prayer. And yes, it opens you up to receive. So
Yeah.
you were able to move through whatever that was yesterday.
I did. It was the day
Yeah.
before yesterday. So by yesterday, I had my show with Carol Ann, and God love her. She's so beautiful. And she rang me and she said, "How you feel?" Or she's messaged me, "How are you feeling today?" And I said, "Pretty awful, actually." But she said, "Are you feeling better than yesterday?" Yeah. She said, "Well, that's a great thing, isn't it? You've moved forward, you're moving through, so that's good." And I knew by the time I got on the show, I was like, by the time I was finished, I was like, I might paint the house, and I might, because allowing myself to be where I was without criticism, but asking for divine assistance, just I can't even explain it. And then having the support of friends like Carol Ann,
Right.
and then taking all of that and having gratitude for it. That gratitude is one of the most powerful energies on the planet because it's partners with love every time, with divine love. It's a partnership.
Beautiful point.
Mm.
Beautiful point. I really like that a lot. It's a partnership. Gratitude for the way that you're feeling. It's teaching you something. What is it that I need to know about this? And I know that, in the past, when I would start feeling something, especially pain, my first thing is make it stop, make it stop. I don't like pain, make it stop. So it's really a process of learning how to do that. And you waffle back and forth as you're learning how to do that. But we still have choices of how we want to handle it.
Yeah.
And the first question I had on here is, are you ready to give up your old stories of who you and others are? And these stories are energetic. They're like a tape recorder that keeps playing over and over and over and again. It's the same story, taking you to the same type of feelings. You just have different characters now playing out the story with you. They're all from the past, from growing up. So when, I was thinking a lot about trauma and how interesting it is that those body memories, those feelings, those anxiety, fear, that they keep coming as if they have been, it's like implanted in you. Even though you're over the trauma, they're still energetic memories playing, like anxiety, like fear, victimization. All of these things they're an energetic story that, and if you look at our thoughts and feelings, they're energy too. So we're all energy. So this energy keeps playing over and over and over and over again, and it's getting to the point where you're saying, I'm done with that story. I don't need to I don't need to repeat it. I don't need to replay it. I learned what that story is about. I learned my lessons from it. I have a deeper understanding. I see it from a higher place. Now, when that music starts to play again in me, I need to call it out and say, "Oh, I know what that is. That's that story again that I
Mm,
don't have to feed into anymore."
absolutely. And as you're speaking, I realize too that when I'm feeling like that, my first thought, okay, and we know what thoughts can do, is what am I doing wrong that I
Mhm.
feel this way?
Mhm.
And so that again, that misconception, that is really the key. That's really the clue. Because when I think, what am I doing wrong? That is telling me automatically I am in a misconception, I am
Mhm.
in an untruth, and I am in my ego's opportunity and actually an invitation to
Mhm.
step out and to step in. So when I step out and then I step in, boom. And it might not happen straight away. I have to say this. Gabby says she's doing a lot of waffling at the moment as well. Well, so am I, as we spoke about yesterday, Gabby.
Mm.
I still haven't cleaned up my desk. But at the same time, stepping into that place just changes things, even if it's not immediate. It's like, you know, when you go somewhere regularly and you drive the same route every time,
Mhm.
after a while, and it's almost like you could drive without noticing where you're going. You automatically turn left, turn right, go up the street here. You know that that roundabout's going to be jammed at this time of day, so you're going to take it. You know, you already have that sense memory, that understanding, and that's what I find happens after a while. I begin to automatically make the choices that are going to support me and nourish me instead of the choices that are going to send me down that same path. Oh, darn it, I forgot this place gets stuck every single day at this time. You know, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So it's stepping out of, we're actually not doing anything wrong.
No.
And I want to say that all you guys listening, whether you're listening now or listening later or watching later, and if you're listening as a podcast, you can visit us on Angel Heart Radio on Facebook and watch these shows live. It's reminding you you're not doing it wrong. You are being given opportunities to choose a different way and step into the grace of divinity, which we already are, even if we haven't remembered that.
Mhm.
And even doing it very briefly, Deb, that is enough, isn't it? To
Mhm.
start building that energy and that memory and that experience. And the more we build anything, if you start a house and you stop at the foundations, well, you're never going to move in. You can sit on the concrete or on the stumps if it's a high set house, but you're not going to have the full experience. So eventually you realize, oh, I'm going to need to build a floor, I'm going to need to build some walls and blah, 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 blah. And it's the same with our journey. So it doesn't matter if you've been sitting on that foundation for years and years and years. That's irrelevant. The fact is you've got a foundation there.
Beautiful.
Move forward with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're what I call is developing spiritual muscles
Yep.
is keep coming back to what you know to be true from from your divine wisdom versus from your human experience, and allowing using those divine muscles. And for me, there's times I've had stickies all over my computer, all over my desk, so that it reminds me, oh,
Mm.
that's right. I even made a list of all of those thoughts, like what you said, um, the first problem is when I start thinking, what am I doing wrong? That's an ego thought. And that's what creates you getting more upset because you're listening to a statement, a thought that's not
Yeah.
real.
That's right. It
Mhm.
is so not real.
It is so not real, and we keep drinking the Kool-Aid over and over and over again and believing what you're hearing is real when it isn't.
Mm.
It's an illusion, and we keep getting sucked into the illusion. And when you've been asleep for so long, it's hard when you first wake up and you go, wow, now I need to stay present and I need to really be thoughtful about what is happening with me each moment. And for a while, I was so focused on every little thing that I might be thinking or feeling. And then I realized that, God's always inside working in you. And and that I hear corrections come up if I have a thought and I'm questioning the thought, I right away will hear, okay, this is not a true thought. This is not right. This is the way we're going to look at this. So the thought is coming, the correction is coming continuously if you allow yourself to stay present, and listen for it. That there's always fine tuning going on. And so I didn't have to focus as much as I did for years on I got to catch this and I got to catch that, because that gets stressful too, because you're so focused on what's happening inside of you all of the time. And so you can relax the more that you are spending time in divine love with God or angels, whatever you call that. you are you're going to notice that, wow, I'm being led, I'm being guided, not just to what I need to do here or there or how I should bring something forth, but you're getting led and corrected in your thinking
Yeah.
to look at it through a higher lens. And that takes the pressure off, because I know that God's got my back, that I don't have to look at myself under a microscope all day long, which I did. It was
Mm.
a is a lot, it makes it very stressful to do that.
It does.
Uh-huh.
It's exhausting.
It is
Now
exhausting.
we've had Christina join us. Love and gratitude to everyone tonight. Welcome, Christina. Thank you. Love having you with us. Carol Ann, actually, before Carol Ann, Gabby said to you, Deb, that was a wonderful comment. I needed to hear what you just said, Deb. Thank you. So that was awesome. Sometimes it's really powerful to get those examples. Carolyn said, wonderful example, building the house in Anayah. Foundations sometimes take quite a long time to build, but it's worth it. And Gabby said, it does. I had to make myself have a human day yesterday after I listened to Carol Ann and Anayah. So here we all are, we're working together, we're supporting one another. And that's what these reflections are. And have you ever noticed, guys, that the more you get present like this, and that even taking that one step, another one suddenly pops up and presents itself. And after a while, you find that you really want to start spending more time with people, podcasts, YouTubes, books, whatever it is that contribute to your well-being. And that's just the natural flow of it, isn't it, Deb? So it's not even like, oh, I've got to go and listen to this show on Angel Radio because it's really good for my soul. It becomes, oh, yay, it's Angel Heart Radio. Let's go listen. Let's go watch. I wonder what am I going to, what nourishment am I going to receive today? And you might pop in and out. You might be here for 10 minutes and pop off and do something else. You'll be there for the right 10 minutes for you.
Right.
Sometimes my friends will say, oh, I didn't have time to sit down and watch the show. So you don't need to. If you want to tune in, that's fantastic. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. But if you want to put it on and move about your business, and which is what I do, I'll often cast it to the telly. And if I've got to go to the kitchen or go to the clothes, off I go. If I don't pause it, I don't pause it. I know I'll hear or see what I need to.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that experience of divine trust.
That's beautiful what you just said, because we do get stuck also in FOMO, fear of
Yeah,
missing out, right?
yeah.
Because then we could go the other way. I have to absorb everything, and I'm watching this and doing that, and I'm not taking time for myself because I'm too busy listening to other people. So we go through both extremes of that. And I promise you, the more that you are present, you're not missing anything, because whatever you think you missed, if you needed to hear it, it will be brought to you again. It will be
And
brought to
again,
you, and
and
again and
again.
again.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. You know, this was really interesting the other day. Um, I journal in bed after I meditate, and so God had dictated this article to me. What is this? Today's Thursday, probably over the weekend. And I knew that I needed to write it up and do something with it, but I hadn't. And normally on Mondays he gives me the topic and the talking points for my show on Wednesday. And I heard Monday, we'll get to that later, Deb. We're not doing this now, which is normally what I get in the morning during my meditation. I said okay, and I noticed for a couple of days that when I walked past my bed, the page, as if I made a wind, right? There was no fan on, but the page opens up to, it just goes 2 pages before to the article, sort of like, remember this? You were
Yeah.
supposed to type this up, right?
Hey,
My
this is
my
God speaking.
and I have my notebook on the bed every single day. After I use it, I just leave it there, and that's never happened before. But I was like, okay, Tuesday morning, here it goes. It opens again, and I walk past my bed every single day, and the pages don't move, and here it is. And I said, okay, I hear you, but being present, I catch it. If I wasn't present, I would not have caught that. And this is what I mean about, you will be alerted
Mm,
to whatever you need to know. You don't miss out on anything.
not a single thing. And that's always coming back to that divine trust. And so, if you're not feeling that right now, that's okay too, because when you do feel it, that contrast, that juxtaposition is so powerful that it's almost like, I'm so grateful I didn't feel it and I had all that fear, because feeling what this feels like, this is not something I can mistake. It's not something I can think up. And it's certainly not something I can say, well, it was because of this, this, and this. It's only ever because of one thing. It's because it is. That is divine love. And when I first started working with God's angels, it was like so powerful, Deb, because I had never experienced anything like that. And I love the fact that all these angels are in creation for us, because sometimes that's the easy way for all, not easy, maybe it's just the way some of us relate and
Mm-hmm.
can access that. They are all access points, divine access points. So when I talk angels, I'm speaking God, because there is not one without the other,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when I speak God, I'm speaking creator. I'm speaking unconditional love. I'm speaking source. I'm speaking unconditional compassion.
Mm-hmm.
All of this and so much more that I haven't even experienced consciously yet.
Mm-hmm.
because I'm experiencing it all unconsciously all the time, because there is no separation between God and myself or anybody else. So it's like that, you try and separate water and you take out a drop, you go, I've separated this drop of water, but it's still water, right?
Yes.
So, okay, I'm going to separate the air. So I take a breath. I've separated. I've got it. It's right there. You know how you blow it in the jar, put the lid on. No, you can't. You can't separate it. So it's really cool, guys. Have a think about ways that you might be trying to separate that, and just check out how you feel and what comes up for you. Because for every question, there are unlimited answers from Creator.
Yes. Yes.
And when I think to myself, how do I do this? How do I make this happen? How do I pay for that? How do I create that? I'm getting much more present to the fact that, oh, actually, okay, that's limiting me. So the question I can then say to God is, how do I experience your creation of this? And what can I do to help that have a physical presence here on earth?
It's lovely.
Yeah, and suddenly it's like, oh my God, that's such a relief. Because sometimes it feels like too much responsibility. And it is. We're not designed to have all this responsibility. We're designed for partnership.
Yes, most definitely.
Divine partnership. And so, when we go around our days and maybe we're yelling at the kids, or maybe we're grumbling about such and such, or maybe we're swearing because we've stubbed our toe, or maybe we're saying something like, and this is one of mine, I am sick of this. I am just fed up. I'm just so over it, God. I'm done. And it's so great having these conversations, because then I realise, oh, okay, I've made a statement that I'm sick of something, that I'm sick. Right, okay, cancel, clear, delete that. And and I can start calling this back for healing. So this getting present business is vast. Isn't it?
Everything. It's everything. It's the only way that you can make a conscious choice to keep going higher, to see things from a higher perspective in all situations. And, we're not expected to stay present 24/7. We wouldn't be here if we could do that. But it is just challenging yourself to say, okay, I want to stay present today as much as I can. And you could ask the angels to help you stay present all day and catch whatever you can catch, so that you're minimizing how much pain you're bringing to yourself by going back into a story. And one of the things that I also did, I wrote down not just the ego thoughts that were recurring all the time, the same thoughts that I would go chasing instead of just ignoring them. And then I wrote down all the stories. What are all my victim stories? What are all my struggle stories? What am I telling myself? What am I telling myself all the time that limits me? And so then I got to know what my stories were pretty well. And that's something that people can do, is as you catch what these stories are that you keep recreating and bringing it back into your reality, that you can stop reacting to them and understand why you're having those type of stories, where they came from. And I had also put in one of the questions, um, about forgiveness. Are you willing to forgive yourself and others for experiences that lead you to pain, that led you to pain, faulty beliefs and misconceptions? So it is, you're always pure, you're always divine, you're always innocent, but we feel as humans that we need to keep doing forgiveness. It helps us along to want to forgive ourselves and other people. So it's about not beating yourself up when you found that you went back into one of your stories. It is having grace for yourself.
Mm. That's right. Because
Mhm.
sometimes forgiveness takes a really long time.
And that's a choice too.
But what I'm saying about that too,
Yeah.
Debbie, is if we then start judging that,
Yes.
that's where it gets really murky. Because the fact of the matter is, we're doing the best we can
Yes.
in every given moment.
Mhm.
So if forgiveness is taking you a really long time and you feel like you're battling with it, maybe the doorway to that is to forgive yourself for it taking so long.
Mhm.
Because that is just, that feeling of it taking too long is an attachment and a judgment, which we're attaching and judging all the time, right?
Mhm.
And that's just the way it is, because we're doing the human thing.
Mhm.
But at the same time, the more I'm willing, this is one of mine, another one of mine, I'm willing to forgive those parts of me that resist forgiveness.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that then I'm allowing myself a lot in that very simple statement.
Yeah.
So I'm allowing myself to admit what's happening without judgment. And I'm also allowing myself forgiveness and calling upon the divinity of that energy to support me. And the more I experience that very short statement, I went through a period of time, Deb. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you. Something happened in my world that any sane person would say that is just shocking. That's cruel and it's not right. And I wanted to fight it and I wanted justice and I wanted it badly. But the thing was, I became so toxic with it that nobody could stand being around me. And I couldn't stand being around myself. I was just so deeply toxic and miserable. And then I heard that statement, I am willing to release that part of me which angers me when I think of you. Well, I used I am willing to release that part of me which enrages me when I think of you.
Mhm.
And I noticed that it was kind of like a little bit of a pressure release, just a teeny one, very small. So then this thought was in my head all day long. And so I kept saying that all day long. And it might sound a long time to you guys, but this is how deep that went for me. Within 3 months, I was driving down the road one day, singing along, smiling, and I suddenly realized, oh my God, I feel good. I feel great. I feel happy. I'm not thinking about it anymore. Right? And it was like, wow, that was my key to freedom. And I never knew it at the time. And I must have, in the beginning, I honestly and truly must have remembered to say that at least 200 times a day, because it was that incessant thought
Mhm.
that everything revolves around. And it was so amazing because when I finally freed myself, gave myself permission to be free, that I didn't have to change any of it. And it didn't matter what it was.
Mhm.
Because the ultimate truth was, whatever it was nowhere near as toxic and damaging as what I was doing to myself, right?
Mhm.
So when I got to that point, it was one of those major turning points in my life. And so I started to use that for everything. And then I became consciously aware of the angels a few years later, and and it just changed everything, because it was that willingness to just forgive. I am willing to release that part of me which ...
What What a great
Because everyone's
story.
doing the best they can, and the other
Yes.
person was doing the best they could.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
judging another person's journey is like trying to guess, how many Smarties are in a 44-gallon drum. You'll spend a lot of time focusing on that and a lot of time not figuring it out
Right.
until you go, oh, well, okay, I know how many in there. There's a lot. And then leave the room. It changes everything, doesn't it? And that's
It
divine
does.
grace
It
right there.
does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Such a great story, Anayah. And but the fact was you had it on your heart to forgive, even though you felt this resistance inside of you. You were making that movement each day by saying that prayer to release and forgive. So it was something you put into motion, and eventually it
Yeah.
just left. But
Yeah.
and and I could say the same thing. For 56 years I held on to lots of things that I didn't forgive, and wasn't keeping it in my conscious awareness that I was angry at people. It was just there, buried somewhere within inside of me. And it was Jesus that and God that taught me about I need to forgive. I need to forgive myself for holding on to it for 56 years,
Yep.
right? So I know plenty well what it is to hold on to things that we don't need to um, be toxic with ourselves. That is toxic. And and so, Jesus keeps telling me, Deb, it's easy. All you have to do is believe. You just have to believe.
Even
Believe.
if it's the mustard seed, right?
Yes, even if it's a
Doesn't even
mustard
have to be
seed.
a lot. Yeah.
Just believe the truth that you're being told
Yeah.
and just accept it. But there is, and he also told me there's a part of us that doesn't want to let go.
Absolutely.
It does not want to let go and make changes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you have that, like, and that's all part of the illusion too, but it is very strong. It is an energetic resistance that we all have, that it's like fighting what you're trying to do and sucking you back into the illusion constantly. So it is really
Yep.
important to look at these things of having more grace for yourself. And as Anaya said, that you can't force yourself to forgive. I have tried doing all of those things. I had to do it when I was ready to do it. And also, and so we each do that in different ways. And your way was beautiful, the way that you described it. And I have done the same thing. I asked for help, that I would like to let go of this. And the part of me that wanted to hang on to it, and this is for me, doing inner child works really helps with all of that, and finding
Oh,
out
yeah.
what part of me wants to keep holding on to that, so that I can love myself more, and to enough to let go, to
Yeah.
start developing trust in myself, that I can be more, I can hold more love, and I can do these things that I which comes along with being divine, is that
Yeah.
your expansiveness, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. So welcome, Mirandy's watching with us. Welcome, welcome. If you'd like to comment or ask any questions, please feel very welcome to do that. It's the other part of it was for me was, sometimes we get so comfortable with our anger and with our righteousness and with our it can kind of become a little bit of a mission, which is what happened with me. It became a mission to get justice,
Mhm.
right? And that was not easy for me to let go, because it was like, well, if I don't get justice for me, who's going to do it?
Mhm.
And if this If this doesn't get fixed, then it's always going to be wrong and it's always going to hurt. And what I discovered was when I took my focus off that and just put my focus on, I'm willing to release that part of me, which that's where my focus went. And suddenly my focus left that really dense, heavy, very ugly feeling. It was a very ugly feeling for me because it was so full of pain. And that then helped me to understand there was actually nothing ugly about it at all. There was beauty in that pain, because within that pain, once I went to release and change my focus, I started to see I could have a much more beautiful world, a much more beautiful life. And all of my relationships that were very connected to that situation actually began to flourish. And years later, I met up with the person who I was so enraged about, and we had the most wonderful conversation, and they were able to explain to me what was happening from their side of the mirror. And it was just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so much freedom. And it does really feel like things happen to us. It really does feel that way. But turning it round to, well, what didn't turn it round at all? It was my focus and my willingness to understand it. Beginning to understand that everything really does happen for me. And that's not always easy to accept. And sometimes it seems like that just can't be true.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the divinity of truth. And that expansiveness is like being handed a set of wings. Fly wherever you choose. And we can either say, oh, I love those wings, let's go. Or we can say, what do you mean? I can't put those wings on. What do you mean fly? A, I'm afraid of heights. B, they'll never fit. C, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. When we're in that place, it's a really great point, if we can remember it, that right there are a lot of clues about what our thinking is telling us and where our thinking is trapping us
Mm-hmm.
and holding us tight.
Mm-hmm.
Because our thinking, and it's up to us. And Louise Hay has been absolutely instrumental in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's just such an amazing spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And her body of work is such an incredible legacy in her work. I'm quite certain she continues from spirit. And the way, and it's the same for you watching, you listening. It's exactly the same for you. You are no different. And that might take a bit of time to mull over, accept, and really maybe come to peace with. But I'm no different. And you know, Deb, when I first started Angel Heart Radio, oh, this is a great memory. When I first started, I was trying to people please everyone, right? I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted everyone to like Angel Heart Radio. And so I accepted a lot of points of view and behaviours that I suddenly came to realise. Like, for example, if someone was a guest and they didn't turn up, it was like, oh, well, they probably got busy. And then one day I just heard the angels say, what would Oprah do? What would they do if this was Oprah's show? I thought, that's absolutely right. If I don't respect my time, Angel Heart Radio, its place in the world, what I've been offered, because Angel Heart Radio is a divine gift. It wasn't something I ever thought up. Then really, what does that mean? So I began to realize that this was for me to look at my boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and how I was living in the world. And it was so good. It was very challenging. It was very challenging, especially if someone wanted to come on as a guest, and I just didn't feel that connection to say no. It's like, oh my God, how do I say no to this person? They'll think I'm terrible. They'll think Angel. See, that's that murky thinking, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
My feelings were telling me this is not a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts were telling me, you look, come down the rabbit hole because, it feels very comforting in there.
Uh-huh.
But learning to be present has been incredible. And look, there's a dog barking outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I always know that when I'm saying something and I get a signal from nature like that, a vocal signal, it's really important to pay attention. So that's something I'll be taking away from today to really contemplate about my own boundaries now.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's a dog out that side. I got it on both sides. This is so cool. I love it.
Yeah, that's
It's gorgeous.
it is. Thank you for all of that. Thank you for all your beautiful divine wisdom that you keep bringing forth and your love. I so appreciate you.
I know you do, Deb, and you have been just a godsend in my life. The relationship that we have off camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful on camera. So imagine everyone how gorgeous it really is off camera as friends and really important people in each other's lives. And we're so blessed, Deb. Friendships like yours and mine don't just happen if you're in your head having yucky thoughts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But when that does happen, and Michelle has joined us, welcome, Michelle. Thank you so much. It's lovely to have you with us. But when they do, and we've been able to talk things over, and you've helped me through such painful times in my life. And so I can recommend, really, guys, if you're looking for someone to work with who really lives this, who really has the experience to help another. I can't recommend anyone more highly than Deb Goldberg. So it's debbiengoldberg.com. You'll find also Deb on Angel Heart. Of course, you're on Angel Heart Radio. On Facebook. Reach out, because when we have the opportunity to work with someone who has the depth that you have, Deb, and the breadth of wisdom, understanding, love, and the tools you actually have, it's such an incredible experience. And it's sort of like stepping into a much bigger room than you realized was available to you. So thank you as well. You've made such a difference in my personal world as well as to Angel Heart Radio.
Oh, well,
I'm
thank
so
you.
blessed.
Thank you. And I feel the same way about yourself.
I
It's
do.
because of you that I'm sitting here and can talk in public.
And you see, that's the gorgeous mirror, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the opportunity we have sometimes to just very quietly support people while they're doing what they need to do in order to experience whatever it is they need to experience for their growth and development. We don't always have to be jumping up and down and telling people what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's the quiet support that just gets us into such an incredible place.
Mm-hmm. It certainly
Mm.
does. And that's quiet servitude.
Exactly.
It's quiet servitude.
That's it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's a magnificent gift to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The heart expansion that happens there, I can't quantify that. I actually don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so grateful to experience it and have gratitude for it and let it work in my life.
Me too.
Mm.
Me too. So, before we sign off, because we are out of time, I
Yeah.
am going to leave everyone with a question. Are you willing to listen to the voice that created you above all else? And I'm going to let you sit with that and ponder it and try to integrate it enough so that you start to learn your identity from within and not from without. And not from that voice either that keeps railroading you.
Now, before we go, Christina says, appreciate this. I'm learning that I was comparing myself to others, something I knew better, but yet fell back into. Lots of releasing and old stuff that no longer serves going on. Time to step into my light. Thank you. Oh, Christina, that's magnificent. You are magnificent. Well done, you. And please do reach out to us anytime at all. Can I just say that tomorrow, Caroline Cross is with some rather special people on Enlightened World Network. Deb?
Mm-hmm.
Want to share times and all the rest of it?
I don't have that handy at the moment,
Oh,
but
okay, that's okay. So
it's usually at 7:30 or 7:30, somewhere around Eastern time.
Okay.
It's around 7 p.m. Eastern time, and it probably Energies of the New World. Is that correct? Yes.
Dragons and archangels, the dragons and archangel energy. So if you head on over to the Enlightened World Network Facebook page, I'm sure you'll find some info if that sounds interesting and exciting, which I think is going to be brilliant. And Carol Ann always brings something so wonderful to the table. So
yes, she does. Thank you. And can you tell people how to get in touch with you, Anayah?
Absolutely. I have the most glorious website.
Yes,
it's angellight777.com, and it's just a beautiful place. It's your soft place to land. The angels and I work together, and we create all sorts of beautiful stuff there for you. There's MP3s, there are downloadable PDFs, there are angel messages. There is just so much. Ascension Symptoms at the moment is the most landed on page on Angel Heart Radio. On Angel Light 777. You'll find that in the drop-down menu. The Archangel series, the Ascended Master series. It really is a beautiful, wonderful, loving, generous, inclusive place. So angellight777.com. Thanks, Deb.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. So when in doubt, never underestimate the power of prayer. You are being listened to and heard throughout the universe, and it always responds with infinite and eternal love. Remember to go inside and listen through your heart for the whispers of heaven. God bless you. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
You've been listening to another fabulous program on Angel Heart Radio. Our goal is to remind you of how much you matter in the world and to let you know that we appreciate who you are in the world. You can check out who's on, when we're on, and who our guests are at angelheartradio.com. Everything is there. It's all just one click away. Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools to help you in your life and your life experience. They are not intended, nor should they, be used to replace your medical or legal advice.
Powered by love, Angel Heart Radio is brought to you by angellight777.com. The views and opinions expressed by Angel Heart Radio hosts, guests, co-hosts and associates should not be construed as advice from Angel Heart Radio.